They said it was junk. Human mechanic buys 5349-year-old ship for $10 and gains the galaxy. Around him, the junkyard hummed with life, or at least the kind of life that thrived among broken starships. Rusted panels clattered in the artificial breeze, and long-forgotten engines groaned like tired old animals. Another day, another pile of useless junk, a nearby scavenger muttered, a sleek, blue-skinned alien with 6 eyes as he adjusted his magnetic tool belt. Jax grinned. Useless to you, maybe. I see a lot more than junk. The alien scoffed. Humans always think they can fix what even the galaxy has forgotten. Jax ignored him. That was his specialty. Humans were small, unassuming, often underestimated, but humans saw what others missed. And right now, his eyes were locked on something that no one else dared touch. The ship before him was enormous. Its hull was pitted with corrosion, markings worn away by thousands of years. Half the panels had fallen off, exposing cables that twisted like vines. A strange greenish glow pulsed from cracks in the ship's surface, faint but steady. Most scavengers avoided it, most thought it was dead, but Jax didn't. 5,000 years old, the auctioneer had said over the comm channel as if the number was supposed to scare him. And worthless. No engines, no power, no life signs. Go ahead, human, buy it if you like junk. Jax had bought it. 10 galactic credits. That was all it cost to claim the most ancient ship in the sector. 10 measly credits for a potential treasure beyond imagination. Crazy, the alien muttered again, shaking his head as he floated past on a small anti-gravity hoverboard. Jax smiled and didn't answer. He liked crazy. Crazy got things done in this galaxy. He climbed up the uneven metal ramps that led to the ship's main entrance. Each step creaked under his weight, a reminder that this ship had survived centuries without care. The airlock was stuck. Rust had fused it shut, but Jax had tools for that too. A few turns of his wrench, a little force, and the door shuddered open. Inside was darkness, broken only by the soft glow from cracks in the hull. Dust swirled in the air, floating like tiny stars. The smell of metal and oil and something older, almost alive, filled Jax's nose. He flicked on his flashlight and the beam cut through the darkness. The walls were lined with alien glyphs, glowing faintly as if they remembered their purpose. Jax ran his hands over them, feeling the smoothness beneath the layers of grime. None of the other scavengers had cared enough to see this. None of them had the patience. And that was why he, a human mechanic from a small, forgotten colony, was about to change the course of the galaxy. "All right, let's see what we have here," Jax muttered, pulling out his portable scanner. The machine whirred and beeped, lights flashing. Nothing. No engines, no fuel, no power core. The ship should have been dead. But then the scanner's light flickered and a soft hum echoed through the corridors. Jax froze. He wasn't imagining it. The hum grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. "Hello," he called, his voice bouncing against the metal walls. A pause. Then a whisper, soft and melodic in a language he had never studied. Yet somehow he understood it. "Welcome." Jax staggered back. His heart raced. Ships didn't talk, not like this, not alive. Hi," he said, unsure how to respond. "You have awakened me." The voice wasn't threatening. It was calm, curious, and ancient. Jax's mind raced. This ship was not just a relic. It was alive. He took a cautious step forward, scanning the walls. Lights flickered on, following his movement. Panels retracted, revealing control consoles covered in dust. A holographic interface flickered to life, displaying symbols and star charts that Jax had never seen before. His eyes widened. This was advanced technology. Technology that could map the stars, calculate impossible routes, and maybe even protect itself. And it was waiting for someone clever enough to wake it. "Well, hello, ancient thing," Jax said with a grin. "I'm Jax. Let's see what we can do together." The ship hummed again, almost approvingly. "I am Athria. You are different." "Different good or different bad?" Jax asked, half joking. "Different enough to survive." Jax's grin widened. Humans had always been underestimated. Small, weak, chaotic, but clever, resourceful. And right now, he had a ship that had survived 5 millennia, waiting for someone who could think like a human. He spent the next hours exploring. Every corridor, every room revealed more mysteries. Storage rooms contained supplies that had somehow survived centuries. One room had a strange chamber filled with strange spheres floating in midair, each one containing images of stars and planets Jax couldn't name. "This is insane," he whispered. Then he reached the bridge, the heart of the ship. A massive viewport looked out into the stars, and the controls, though alien, seemed almost to recognize him. Jax ran his hands over the consoles, touching switches, levers, and panels. With every movement, Athria responded, lights pulsing, symbols rearranging themselves into forms he could understand. "It's like it's alive," he murmured. "I am alive," the ship said. "And I choose you." Jax laughed, a little out of nervousness, a little out of excitement. "Well, Athria, we have a lot of work ahead of us. Let's get you moving again." He started with the basics, repairing the power conduits, reconnecting circuits that had corroded away, and using his own modifications to bypass damaged systems. Hours passed and the ship's hum grew stronger, more confident. Lights glowed steadily, panels realigned, and for the first time in millennia, Athria seemed ready to fly. But as the sun of the dead star rose on the horizon outside, Jax realized the weight of what he had done. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He had awakened a giant, ancient vessel that could rival entire fleets, and the galaxy would notice. As he finished the final adjustments for the day, Athria whispered softly, "The galaxy will not welcome you. They will fear you. They will want me." Jax leaned back in the pilot's chair, wiping sweat from his brow. "Let them try," he said, a spark of defiance in his eyes. "They don't know humans like me." A distant alarm echoed through the junkyard, but Jax didn't flinch. The scavengers were curious now, peeking into the ship. They saw the lights, the hum, the ancient panels awakening, but none of them understood. None of them could. Athria hummed beneath him, almost like laughter, and the stars outside twinkled as if the galaxy itself had taken notice. For the first time, Jax felt the rush of destiny. The galaxy thought this was junk. He thought differently. And in that moment, a human mechanic with nothing but tools, guts, and imagination had just begun a journey that would change everything. The ship was alive. The mechanic was clever. And the universe was about to meet a force it had long ignored. The next morning, the junkyard was quiet except for the low hum of Athria, the ship that Jax had brought back to life. The outside world still considered it a heap of useless metal, but inside the air buzzed with possibility. Jax rubbed his hands together and stepped onto the bridge. "Morning, Athria," he said. "Ready to show me what you can do?" "I have waited 5,000 years for someone like you," the ship replied. Its voice, calm and steady, made Jax shiver slightly. "I have knowledge you cannot imagine." Jax grinned. "I love that challenge." He started by testing the basic systems. The power conduits he had repaired the day before hummed with energy. Lights pulsed along the walls, panels shifted to accommodate his movements, and the ship seemed to breathe with him. As he moved through the corridors, he realized Athria wasn't just alive, it was intelligent. It learned, adapted, and even anticipated his actions. Jax climbed to the engineering bay, where ancient engines loomed like sleeping giants. The metal was old, almost fragile, but the design was unlike anything he had ever seen. There were no fuel tanks, no obvious power sources, yet the ship could run. "How do you even move?" Jax whispered, brushing his hand along a smooth control panel. "I am powered by the stars themselves," Athria said. "By gravity, by energy, by thought." Jax blinked. "By thought. Your thoughts guide me. I respond to your will, your ideas," he laughed. "Well, that's convenient. Hope you like improvisation because that's my specialty." Over the next few hours, Jax explored more of Athria's systems. He found storage rooms filled with strange alien devices, some shaped like crystals, others like floating spheres that reacted to his touch. The ship seemed to respond, shifting lights, opening compartments, and even projecting star maps in midair. Jax realized that Athria could calculate routes to places no human or alien had ever reached. "This is insane," he muttered, spinning one of the floating spheres. It projected a map of an uncharted region of the galaxy. "And we're going there." Athria's voice was calm, almost approving. "We can go farther than anyone. We can go where no fleet dares, but they will notice us soon." Jax frowned. "Who? Other scavengers?" "Worse," the ship said. "Civilizations older than your human history. They will come for me." Jax's grin returned. Humans were never afraid when others underestimated them. That's how they survived. "Well, Athria," he said, "let them come. We'll be ready." He decided to test the ship's engines. Stepping onto the bridge, he pressed a series of levers and buttons that seemed to respond automatically to his hands. The ship vibrated under him, energy flowing through its circuits like liquid lightning. Slowly, gently, Athria lifted off the platform. The junkyard outside looked tiny, almost toy-like as the ship glided into open space. Jax felt a thrill he had never experienced before. The stars stretched out in front of him, endless and full of possibilities. "This is unreal," he whispered. "You really are something else. And you, human, are clever enough to handle it." Jax spent the next day learning the ship's capabilities. He discovered that Athria could create temporary wormholes, a shortcut through space-time that no other ship could manage. It could scan planets for resources, repair itself in minutes, and even create decoys to confuse enemies. Every system was ancient, yet far beyond any current technology in the galaxy. By the evening, he had mastered the basic controls and was ready for a short test flight outside the junkyard orbit. He opened the airlock and pushed Athria into a calm stretch of empty space. The stars stretched in long lines as the ship accelerated, and Jax felt a strange sense of connection, as if the ship could read his mind. "This is amazing," he said aloud. "We're going places no human has gone before." But the galaxy was watching. Far beyond the junkyard, sensors from a nearby alien fleet flickered to life. Ships that had ruled the sector for centuries detected unusual energy readings, the signature of Athria awakening. Within hours, messages were being sent to distant command centers. The galaxy had noticed a human with a 5,000-year-old ship, and they were not pleased. Back on Athria, Jax felt a subtle shift. "They are aware of us." "Who?" he asked, gripping the controls. "They are powerful, older than your species. They see potential and threat." Jax smiled. "Let them come. They don't know humans like me." He ran simulations, testing Athria's defenses and response systems. He discovered that the ship could generate shields stronger than most modern battleships, weapons that could disable enemy ships without destruction, and a cloaking ability that rendered them invisible to conventional scanners. But even with all this, he knew they couldn't fight the galaxy alone. "We will not fight alone," Athria said. "We will outthink, outmaneuver, and survive. That is what humans do best." Jax laughed. "I like the sound of that. Let's see how clever we can be." Suddenly, an alert flashed on the bridge. A small reconnaissance drone from the alien fleet had entered the sector. Jax's heart raced. It was the first real test. "All right, Athria," he said. "Time to see if you can really handle a human's thinking." He activated the decoy systems. Broken panels and old metal fragments floated away from the ship, moving as though alive. Lights blinked across the hull in patterns that confused the drone's sensors. Then he pushed the ship forward, weaving through asteroids and debris in a maneuver no alien pilot could have predicted. The drone fired, but Athria's shields absorbed the attack. Within minutes, the drone was disabled, spinning harmlessly into space. Jax exhaled, exhilarated. That's more like it. Humans win again. Yes, Athria said, but this is only the beginning. The next morning, Jack scanned nearby star systems for potential threats. Using Athria's ancient maps, he plotted courses to hidden sectors, abandoned colonies, and planets rich with resources. The possibilities were endless, but so were the dangers. He also discovered something unexpected. Athria could communicate with other ancient systems, long dormant starships that had survived the galaxy's chaos. They were silent, waiting for someone clever enough to awaken them, and humans had a chance to awaken more. This could change everything, Jax whispered. Not just for me, but for humanity. Athria hummed softly, almost like approval. Yes, but you must be careful, others will come. They will want me and they will not understand you. Jax leaned back in his chair, thinking. Humans had always been underestimated. They were small, chaotic, fragile, and brilliant. If he could use Athria wisely, humanity could rise where others had fallen. As the day ended, Jax prepared for a longer test flight. He wanted to push Athria further, learn more about the ship's limits, and explore the uncharted regions of space. But a sudden alert froze him in place. A signal was approaching, fast, large, and unmistakably hostile. The fleet that Athria had warned him about was on the move, and their attention was locked on the ancient ship and its human mechanic. Jax gritted his teeth. Looks like the galaxy isn't going to leave us alone. No, Athria agreed. But they have underestimated humans for the last time. Jax smiled, feeling the familiar spark of determination that had carried humanity through centuries of impossible odds. All right, Athria, he said. Let us show them exactly what humans can do. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, full of danger, mystery, and opportunity. Inside, a human mechanic and a 5,000-year-old sentient ship prepared for a journey that would test the limits of intelligence, courage, and ingenuity. And the galaxy was about to meet something it had never seen before. Part 3 awaits. The stars stretched endlessly ahead of Jax as Athria glided through the outer rim of the junkyard sector. At first, he had felt excitement, a thrill of discovery as the ancient ship responded to his touch, his thoughts guiding its every movement. But that excitement quickly shifted to tension as the first signals of pursuit appeared on the sensors. Someone's coming, Jax muttered, scanning the readouts. Small blinking icons appeared far behind, growing larger with each passing minute. They weren't scavengers. These were warships, fast, sleek, and armed with weapons that could tear through Athria if he made a mistake. Athria hummed softly beside him. Yes, they have noticed us, and they are faster than anything you have faced before. Jax clenched the controls. Well, Athria, that's fine. Humans don't give up easily. The first attack came sooner than he expected. Bright energy beams lanced toward them from a distance, illuminating the darkness of space like lightning strikes. Jax's heart pounded, but he didn't panic. Shield up, he commanded. Panels on the bridge slid into place, and Athria's energy flowed into a shimmering dome around the ship. The first beam struck the shields, sending a pulse of light across the viewport. They will not give up easily, Athria warned. Jax smirked. Neither will I. He activated one of the ship's decoy systems. Pieces of broken hull, old metal scraps, and even floating containers from the junkyard drifted into space, forming multiple false targets. Lights blinked across them, mimicking energy signatures, confusing the alien sensors. The fleet fired again, aiming at the decoys. Several ships were caught, their shots wasted. Jax used the distraction to navigate toward an asteroid field nearby, the jagged rocks providing natural cover. This is going to be close, he muttered, weaving Athria between massive boulders. Every move required precise timing and split-second decisions, but the ship seemed to anticipate his intentions, shifting systems smoothly, almost like a dance partner. The alien ships were relentless. They pursued him with terrifying accuracy, firing bursts of energy that Athria absorbed with its shields. Jax realized quickly that brute force alone would not save them. They needed creativity. "All right, Athria," he said, leaning forward. "Time for some improvisation." He pulled fragments from the asteroid field, magnetic fields and old metal pieces, and fashioned them into an artificial barrier. Athria extended tiny energy tendrils from its hull, magnetizing the fragments and hurling them toward the pursuers at high speed. One ship collided with a spinning asteroid fragment and exploded, the rest dodging too late. "Not bad, human," Athria said. "Your ingenuity is useful." Jax grinned, sweat forming on his brow. "You haven't seen anything yet." The alien fleet split into two groups, trying to flank him. Jax activated Athria's cloaking system, a shimmering distortion that bent light around the ship. For a moment they vanished from sensors, leaving only the decoys visible. The aliens scanned the area frantically, unable to locate the real target. He led them on a chase through the dense asteroid belt, twisting and turning, pushing Athria to its limits. The ship hummed and groaned, ancient engines glowing with raw energy. Jax's mind raced, thinking of every possibility, every route, every trick humans could use to survive. "They are fast but predictable," Athria noted. "Use that." "Predictable, huh?" Jax muttered. He studied their patterns carefully. Each ship maintained a fixed distance, adjusting for velocity and trajectory, assuming he would react the same way. But humans were different. Humans could improvise. He dropped a series of explosive decoys from the rear, programmed to mimic Athria's energy signature. The fleet focused on the decoys, firing and missing repeatedly. While they were distracted, he accelerated through a narrow gap between two massive asteroids. The maneuver was impossible for standard ships, but Athria responded instantly, shifting its hull, its energy flowing to the engines for maximum thrust. The fleet was forced to pull back to avoid collision. Jax's grin widened. "See, humans think outside the algorithm." But there was no time to celebrate. One of the faster ships had tracked him, closing the distance. Its energy beams lanced forward, striking Athria's shields. Jax felt a vibration under his hands. Athria was strong, but it couldn't take a direct hit forever. "Time for a new plan," he muttered. He accessed the ship's internal systems, rerouting energy from non-essential systems to create a short-range wormhole. He calculated the jump's coordinates based on the asteroid field ahead, aiming for a cluster of uncharted planets. "This is risky," Athria warned, "but you are confident." "Always," Jax replied, gripping the controls. The wormhole opened, a swirling tunnel of light and energy. Athria accelerated, and in an instant they jumped, leaving the alien fleet behind. When they emerged, the stars looked different, unfamiliar constellations stretching across the sky. The fleet was nowhere in sight, but Jax knew it was only a temporary reprieve. "We lost them for now," he said, exhaling. "But they'll be back." "Yes," Athria said. "And next time they will be prepared." Jax leaned back, scanning the new star system. It was largely uncharted, dotted with planets rich in minerals and energy sources. This was exactly the kind of place a human mechanic could thrive, turning raw resources into tools, weapons, and defenses. "This is perfect," he said. "We'll make a base here hidden. Humans can start building, learning, and surviving." Athria hummed, the glow of its panels casting soft light over Jax's determined face. "You are clever, human. Your species may yet change the galaxy." Jax's mind raced with possibilities. Humans were underestimated everywhere, treated as small, weak, and insignificant. But their strength lay in their creativity, their ability to adapt and improvise. With Athria, he had the ultimate advantage, a sentient ship that could respond to human ingenuity in ways no other civilization could predict. He spent the next hours exploring the system, mapping planets, asteroids, and possible resources. He tested Athria's scanning systems, discovering deposits of rare metals and energy crystals. Each discovery made him more confident that humans could build something extraordinary here, a place to grow, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy. But even in this new sector, Jax knew the alien fleet would return. He needed a plan, a strategy that combined Athria's ancient power with human ingenuity. "Listen, Athria," he said, pacing the bridge. "We can't just hide forever. They'll come again, stronger and smarter. We need allies, resources, and a way to fight back." "You will find them," the ship said. "There are civilizations that will respect intelligence, creativity, and courage. Not all are blind to the strength of humans." Jax smiled. "Then we'll make allies. We'll turn the galaxy upside down if we have to." He spent the night configuring Athria's defenses, creating traps and decoys for any future pursuers. He programmed the ship to anticipate attack patterns, to respond with improvisation and strategy that no alien could predict. He tested the ship's energy output, manipulating power to shields, engines, and even the decoy systems to prepare for every scenario. By dawn, Jax felt a sense of calm determination. Humans had survived worse odds before, and with Athria, he believed they could survive anything. Suddenly, a blip appeared on the sensors. It was faint, almost hidden. Jax frowned. "Another one?" he asked. "Not just another," Athria said. "A scout, smaller, closer, observing." Jax leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Let's see how clever it really is." He activated the ship's cloaking system and sent a stream of false signals in the opposite direction. The scout faltered, confused by the decoys, and Jax used the opportunity to move Athria behind a dense asteroid cluster. The scout continued scanning, but it could not find them. "Humans think outside the algorithm," he muttered again, smiling. "And so do you, Athria." The scout, unable to locate the ship, eventually gave up and retreated. Jax exhaled, relief washing over him. "You have survived the first test," Athria said, "but many will follow." Jax nodded. "Then we'll be ready. Humans always are." He looked out at the stars stretching beyond the asteroid cluster. Ahead lay unknown worlds, untapped resources, and dangers beyond imagining. Behind him, the alien fleet lurked somewhere in the galaxy, waiting, watching, and underestimating humans as always. And Jax knew, with a grin spreading across his face, that humans were about to show the galaxy exactly what they could do. For the first time, he felt the real thrill of being alive in the stars, not just surviving but thriving. And Athria hummed, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to say, "Yes." Together we are unstoppable. The stars outside stretched endlessly, but for Jax Corbin, every light was a potential home, a challenge, or a danger. Athria hummed beneath him, alive and responsive, as if sharing his excitement and his determination. The small human mechanic had survived alien fleets, navigated uncharted sectors, and awakened a 5,000-year-old sentient ship. But now came the real test, turning survival into strength. "This system looks promising," Jax said, scanning a cluster of planets rich in minerals and energy sources. "We'll start here, build, explore, and prepare." "Yes," Athria replied, "but others will come. The galaxy does not take kindly to surprises." Jax didn't flinch. Humans had never waited for permission. They adapted, improvised, and thrived where others failed. And he had Athria, intelligent, powerful, and ancient, on his side. Over the next weeks, Jax worked tirelessly. Using the ship's internal fabrication systems, he extracted resources from nearby asteroids and planets. He converted raw metals into tools, repaired drones, and energy shields. Every day, he tested Athria's systems, learning new ways to push its ancient technology to the limit. By night, he stared at the stars, imagining the humans back on Earth, or scattered colonies, who thought their species was small, weak, and insignificant. They had survived centuries of hardship with nothing but ingenuity and courage. And now, he would prove it to the galaxy. One evening, as he adjusted energy flows to the ship's defensive shields, a sharp alert sounded. On the sensors, A massive formation of alien warships appeared, cutting through space with precision. This was no small scouting fleet, it was a task force. They had come for Athria. Jax's pulse quickened. Looks like they didn't like our last game of hide-and-seek. They underestimate humans, Athria said, but we will show them they were wrong. Jax grinned. That's the plan. He activated the ship's cloaking systems and decoy projectors, creating multiple false Athrias that darted through the system. The alien fleet fired indiscriminately, striking illusions while the real Athria slipped between asteroids and moon fragments. Jax's mind raced, plotting every move. Humans survived not because they were strongest, they survived because they thought differently. Every twist of the ship, every sudden acceleration, every improvised energy diversion came from that uniquely human ability to adapt in the moment. The fleet reacted quickly, but Jax had already calculated their patterns. He led them into a narrow asteroid canyon, too tight for the large alien warships to maneuver. With Athria's ancient engines and precise energy manipulation, he executed impossible turns, dodging every attack. One ship collided with the canyon walls, another got trapped by a spinning asteroid, and the rest fell behind. Impressive, Athria said. Your species' ingenuity is unmatched. Jax smirked. Told you, humans always find a way. But the fight was far from over. From the edge of the system, a massive, ancient dreadnought appeared, its energy readings dwarfing the others. This was the fleet commander, a warship built to crush any threat. Its weapons glowed with power Jax had never seen, capable of obliterating planets. Athria's hum deepened. This is the final test. Are you ready? Jax's hands tightened around the controls. Born ready. Let's show them what humans can do. He didn't attack directly. Instead, he used Athria's intelligence to manipulate the battlefield. Energy tendrils extended from the ship, activating dormant asteroids and turning them into spinning barricades. He used gravitational fields to bend light, creating phantom ships and misleading the dreadnought's sensors. The alien warship fired, and Athria absorbed the blast, converting the energy into propulsion. Jax piloted the ship through a series of complex maneuvers, dodging attacks while simultaneously striking back with focused energy bursts that disabled the dreadnought's shields temporarily. Your thinking is unorthodox, Athria said, but effective. Jax laughed. Unorthodox works for humans. Hours passed in a blur of motion and energy. The alien commander adjusted, trying to predict his moves, but humans were unpredictable. Jax used Athria's wormhole ability, creating short, controlled jumps that made the ship vanish and reappear in unexpected locations. The dreadnought fired blindly, missing every time, while smaller alien ships collided with each other or fell into traps he had set among the asteroids. Finally, Jax saw the opportunity. The dreadnought had overextended its energy output to match his unpredictable movements. With a precise calculation, he channeled Athria's energy into a focused pulse, striking the dreadnought's core. The massive ship shuddered, its systems failing one by one. A brilliant explosion illuminated the system as the commander went silent. Jax exhaled, his heart still racing. And that is how humans win. Yes, Athria said, you have proven your worth, and humanity's place in the galaxy is secured. Jax looked out at the stars, knowing this victory was only the beginning. With Athria, humans could explore uncharted sectors, claim resources, and establish hidden colonies. But more importantly, they could show the galaxy that humans were clever, resilient, and unstoppable. He began contacting other civilizations he had discovered through Athria's ancient networks. Many had been skeptical of humanity, dismissing the small species as weak. But now, word of Jax's victories and Athria's power spread quickly. Aliens began reaching out, seeking alliances with the humans who could outthink fleets twice their size. Over the next months, Jax and Athria established a hidden base on a resource-rich planet. Humans began building ships, training pilots, and learning to use advanced technology that only a few species could comprehend. Athria served as a mentor, teaching strategies, engineering, and ways to think beyond conventional limits. For Jax, it was more than survival. It was the rise of humanity. Every human he trained, every system they built, every fleet they prepared became a testament to what humans could accomplish when underestimated. "You have done well, human," Athria said one evening as Jax surveyed the construction of new ships. "The galaxy will remember this," Jax smiled. "Not just me, Athria, humans, always humans." And for the first time he felt the full weight of possibility. The galaxy had once ignored humanity, laughed at their smallness, and assumed they could be controlled. Now, with ingenuity, courage, and an ancient ship at their side, humans had carved their place among the stars. From the shadows, old fleets and rival civilizations watched, uncertain how to respond. They had underestimated a mechanic and his 5,000-year-old ship. They had dismissed a species that others called fragile and weak, and now humans were unstoppable. Athria hummed beside Jax, a deep, resonant vibration that seemed to echo across the stars. "We've only begun," the ship said. Jax wiped sweat from his brow, a grin spreading across his face. "Good, I like beginnings." The stars outside stretched endlessly, full of unknown worlds, dangers, and opportunities. But for the first time, Jax felt certain of one thing: humans would survive, adapt, and thrive, no matter what the galaxy threw at them. And in that moment, a small human mechanic, covered in grease and determination, sat in the cockpit of a 5,000-year-old ship, ready to lead his species into a future no one had imagined. The galaxy had underestimated humans for the last time.